Hello everyone and welcome back to the Silicon Nubian YouTube channel where we're all about things tech. Continuing on our series 10 Minutes with Linux, today we're going to look at one of my all-time favorite Linux distributions, Manjaro Linux. Latest release is 20.0, also dubbed Lysia. We're going to take a look at the Xfce edition, which remains their flagship offering, including a very nicely laid out Xfce interface with the latest version, of course, of said GUI, Xfce 4.14. Manjaro, a little background real quick. Manjaro is based on Arch Linux. Arch Linux, where not necessarily starting from scratch, but you do build up the distribution from the ground up and have a lot of input in exactly what goes into the distribution. Well, what Manjaro has done, it has wrapped Arch Linux in a very, very friendly installer, which, by the way, during the installation process, which is incredibly good and easy, you were asked such things such as which office suite would you like to install as part of the base installation. You're given a choice of either Libre Office or Free Office. So I thought that was a nice touch. Very slick, very well done all around. So what Manjaro has done is wrapped Arch Linux in a beautiful installer, made some pretty wise application choices, and has already set up your GUI and your window manager. Everything is set up for you, so you don't have to go through those steps as you would have to have done with a typical Arch installation. So let's continue and let's start our 10 minutes with Linux, taking a look at Manjaro 20.0 Lysia. So we're looking at here, we have the Xfce release, which again is their flagship offering. According to the developers, offering a very polished experience. Pacman, Arch Linux, and Manjaro by extension use a package manager called Pacman. Pacman being the GUI version of Pacman, a very, very powerful, very powerful package manager, and something that once you grow to use and grow to appreciate, it's really good. One very interesting thing, both a negative and a positive, more positive than anything about Arch-based Linux distributions such as Manjaro, is it is cutting edge, more so than a lot of other distributions, even more cutting edge than Debian testing. And with the inclusion of AUR, which we'll get into, which is the Arch user repositories, you can get software well before a lot of other, at least software revisions well before other Linux distributions. This can both be a bane and a plus depending on how you look at it. So let's start off right away. Here we have your initial welcome screen of Manjaro. And what we've done, we've installed the distribution and we have updated it with all the current updates up to the publishing of this video. So here we have the Manjaro Hello, as it's called, the welcome screen. Very good. We can go dive directly into the documentation. We have the support tab here. We have a lot of forums, chat room, mailing lists. We can get involved with the project development. We can also take a look at applications. And for example, if I go to browsers, tell us what's available. Manjaro does have a lot of applications available, a lot of relevant applications, not maybe as much as your typical Debian release, but once again, with the aforementioned AUR, you have a lot more applications available to you, and we'll go into that. So that's all part of Manjaro Hello. Pretty good thing that starts up, gets your feet on the ground right away. So once again, with the 10 minute with Linux, we're going to take a quick look at kicking the tires and basically seeing what can we expect post installation. Can we become productive right away with our system? So this is the default desktop, very clean. We have the trash. Of course, we have the file system, which brings up our file manager, which is Thunar. Thunar is the default file manager. Nothing to see here. Great file manager, very well respected and used. So we have version 1.8.14. And of course, home will bring up again Thunar just in our home directory. We see we have a number of pre-configured folders right here in our home directory. So let's continue. So nothing really much exciting other than the fact that it's all pre-configured really nicely for you. Excuse me for that down there. Here we can clear the desktop, minimize all windows, and here we have our panel. Now let's see what we have on the right side. We have, it's connected to a UPS, uninterruptible power supply, so we have our battery information right here. It's fully charged. Here we have the, I'm going to come to this a little bit later. This is the package manager / updater. Manjaro, one thing about it, when you boot up for the first time, you'll notice there's a lot of notifications that come on your screen in this corner, all over. Manjaro really likes to tell you what's going on. So we'll get to that a bit. Here's the network. As we've seen, left clicking will bring up these selections. Right clicking will bring up a few more selections where you can edit, or you can look at your connection information, or even add, let's say, a VPN or whatnot. Here we have a Clipboard Manager that's included. Pacman, very, very capable Clipboard Manager. I love having Clipboard Managers on, whether it's Windows or Linux. I definitely have one in operation. And here we have the volume control. So we have the mic volume and we have the speaker volume. And we can quickly and easily go to our audio mixer and make selections and settings here. Very, very simple. And here, of course, we have our usual calendar. Left clicking will bring up the calendar. Right clicking, we can bring up properties and enter in our time zone and whatnot. So that's pretty simple right there. And here we can power off. We can shut down, restart, and whatnot from that over there. One thing about Manjaro is that you can do different things in different areas of the screen. It's convenient that it's here, but you can also, for example, access that in this section here at I would call it the program menu. So let's look at that program menu. So what do we have included with Manjaro out of the box? Again, you won't see a mass amount of software, but you see a lot. So here we have the favorites, we have the terminal emulator, and let's just do something here. We can see that post installation of Manjaro 20.0, we are running the 5.6.7-1 kernel. Quite current, so a lot of your newer RTX, AMD, and NVIDIA RTX cards and the AMD 5000 series cards should work quite well. We have a file manager, of course. We have the web browser, which by default is Mozilla Firefox. Nothing to see here. Very well respected web browser. Works quite well. Our mail reader is, again, Mozilla Thunderbird. Nothing to see here other than it works very well. Multi-platform. Excellent email application. So we have, at the top, we have Manjaro settings. We'll go through that real quick because it's not as extensive as some other distributions, but it doesn't have to be because everything can be done quite simply through this dialog box here. So we have personal hardware, of course, with display, keyboard, mouse. And personal, we have preferred applications, window manager, Xfce terminal, appearance. This is a theme manager, so we can install different themes. We can do add removable devices and whatnot, displays, power manager, system. We can do a few things here, but it's not all here. Unlike some other distributions, they don't dump every setting control in here, and we'll see that in a bit. And we have the software updater, of course, which I want to go through at the end. I am running out of time, but I want to go through a few things at the end. So we have the recently used with all applications, and then we have categories. Accessories, Catfish, bulk rename. We have archive manager, HP device manager, and a few other things that we have here that we can do. Sensor viewer, which I don't believe will work as this is in a virtual machine, but it's just there to have. More of a curiosity thing than anything else in my opinion, but it is what it is unless it's pretty good actually if you're having issues with overheating and whatnot. So we have software tokens, task manager. Let's take a quick look. Out of the box, running in a virtual machine, Manjaro is using approximately 646 megs of memory, which is quite, is good. It's good. Very lean. I must tell you that the Arch-based Linux distributions I've used, and Manjaro being, I've used it very extensively, is, the performance is great. Performance is fantastic. Again, nothing to see here. Great performance. Continue with the accessories. We have an XF burn if you want to still burn CDs and DVDs for education. Libre Office, again, as I mentioned in the beginning. At installation, you are given a choice of 2 Office suites, Libre Office or Free Office. I chose Libre Office, being more familiar. We have Steam that's included. For graphics, we have GIMP, of course, G-Color, LibreOffice Draw, and a image viewer. Internet, here we have Firefox, couple instant messenger applications, Thunderbird. For multimedia, Pulse Audio Volume Control, Audacious, which is pretty good. Media player as well. VLCs included, great to see that. And a few others, so with video capture utility, of course, and XFburn. Office, Libre Office, as I've mentioned once again, and a few other things, Orange Calendar and Orange Global Time, and a document viewer. For other, we have the HP, and now for settings, pretty much what we showed in the settings manager. You have everything here. But we have 2. We have this Manjaro notifier settings. Again, I mentioned that Manjaro does have a lot of notifications that do pop up. They weren't detailed here, but it does happen. And if we continue down, MIME Editor, mouse and keypad, Power Manager. We can configure the panel here, Qt5 settings, software updater, settings editor. And for system, again, a lot of it is repeated. G-parted and some isn't, so you really have to go through all the categories to see exactly what you're looking for. If I can make one criticism, too much repeating. But let's show you really quickly the settings manager, the update manager, I'm sorry. Now this is your update manager. It's an all-in-one utility. This is Pamac 9.4.2-1, a front end for Pacman and other things. So here we have featured, and there's our time limit. Here we have the featured applications, some which are already installed, some which aren't. Firefox, for example, LibreOffice. There's other things such as Blender and Inkscape and VirtualBox I can install with just a click of a button. And these are all categorized. We show what's installed and other things that we can install. There is some overlap. We saw Blender once again, but there's a good amount of software that we can install. Music and audio, we can continue. Audacity, Clementine, probably my favorite music player on the Linux platform, or media player in general. Pretty good Swiss Army knife of media when it comes to audio, at least. And productivity, of course, we have LibreOffice, Thunderbird, we have document viewers, Bookworm, a bunch of things, communication and news, education and science. We can see with communication and news, Firefox web browser, so we do have some overlap, education and science. Then we have games, utilities, quite a few of them, and development. Install shows us all the applications that we have installed, and quickly to remove them, just click on remove, and it'll take care of that. And then we have updates. By default, this will pop up another notification to tell you when updates are available. And I found with Arch-based Linux distributions such as Manjaro, this is quite often, as they're very cutting edge, and as new software becomes available, they quickly make it into the update server, for better or for worse. And this is something I wanted to show you before we end this video. If you go to Preferences, you will see a tab here. Well, there's General. Let's go through it quickly. General, automatically download updates. Hide icon when there's no update available. We have Advanced, check available space when not, remove unrequired dependencies. Official repositories. We can change that. I'm in Canada, so I can just select Canada, and I can refresh the mirror list, and it will do that. And I can pick a mirror from Canada, which will help me with speed and whatnot. I believe it does that automatically. Then we have Snap and Flatpak. Big update in Manjaro is Pamac can now use Snap and Flatpak support by default. You can now install snaps and Flatpaks very easily with Pacman in the UI with Pamac. I call it Pacmac. And which gives you a bigger option. If I turn this on, quite a lot more applications that I can install. So this is one way I can increase the scope and breadth of the amount of applications available to me, packages I should say, to install on my Manjaro system. Also, it says it's enabled by default, but here we see it's not. I'd have to enable it. Then we have the cache. And now we have the R. This has saved me a few times, and I want to go into this quickly in my last minute here, and I'll let you all go. I'm having a great time here. Love Manjaro. Used it for a long time. Was only pushed aside by MX Linux, but after using it here, I'm feeling nostalgic. AUR stands for Arch User Repository. These are packages that have been created by Arch users. It helped me with my printer, with my Brother printer. There's no other way I could have gotten it installed other than using AUR package at the time. I'm not sure how that would be now. It's been a year or two since I've actually really kicked the tires of Manjaro. But if you're looking for a particular package and it's not listed in the official repositories, Manjaro gives you 3 ways to find it: the AUR, the Snap, and Flatpaks. Now, AUR is uncharted waters in a way in that the packages are not supplied by the official Manjaro developers. They are Arch user repository. Research the packages before you install, folks. Keep your Manjaro system running smooth. It will update the packages as necessary once they're installed on the system as part of a system update, as far as I can remember. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Very powerful. One of the beauties of Manjaro is the ability to install software from everywhere. This is good and this is bad. I would use as much packages as you can from the official repositories, only reaching out when absolutely necessary to use packages from elsewhere. The packages that are located in the official repositories are very up to date. Again, Manjaro being based on Arch, the packages are, for the most part, cutting edge. Good and bad. But if you stick to the official repositories, you should be good to go. I have had one time a Manjaro system pretty much crash on me pretty badly after an update, but I believe is my fault. That being said, I'm going to close off right here and say 10 minutes with Linux with Manjaro. It is a definite consideration. Consider it, please. Give it a run. See how you like it. A lot of people that have come from the Ubuntu world, I was going to do the latest Ubuntu, but everybody does Ubuntu. I just find that Manjaro, in terms of performance, it's definitely superior. In terms of application availability, out of the box, maybe not. But when you use Flatpaks and Snaps and AUR, it can match anything there that's available in the land of different distributions. Performance is stellar. It is a very mature system, extremely well done. Again, there's a little bit of overlap in a lot of the application menus, which may be confusing to some newbies, but honestly, for those who've been using it for a while, it can actually be a good thing because you could find what you're looking for in more than one place. So that's it, 10 minutes with Linux with Manjaro. It's been a little bit more than 10 as usual. And I just want to thank you very much for supporting the channel. If you like what you see, please give a thumbs up. Tell others about it. And Manjaro is a definite consideration. I would look at it very highly if I were you. Again, it was only pushed aside by MX Linux, but I'm feeling very nostalgic right now. Thanks again, and continue to support the channel. I'll try to come out with more videos. We do have a build video coming up very soon of a new PC that will be running Linux. And see you soon. Thanks for your support.